Eagles will win if what?
Ooh, Saquon goes for 3 40-plus yard runs. The reason I'm saying 40 is because once he gets 40, you ain't catching him. They take it in house. So when you think about how the Eagles offense and their football team run, he is the catalyst. It keeps the defense fresh. They're on the side, and they're getting explosive plays, low risk, high reward, running that football. He's tapping that helmet at the 20. That's insanity. But I love what they got. The best offensive line, or one of the best offensive lines in the league. They're going to run through there.
All right, and then, Neek, the other side of that, your hometown Commanders will win if what?
If the Eagles turn the ball over, which to Jeff's point, they don't do that much because they do those low-risk, very high explosive plays with running the ball. But if the Commanders can get an early lead and force the Eagles into throwing the ball, they might turn it over. And, I mean, a fumble or something could happen.
Right.
The Commanders are in a tough spot here, but it's not impossible.
All right, so these teams played each other. Let's focus on the NFC game for a moment. These teams played each other a few days before Christmas, and that game is mostly remembered for Jalen Daniels throwing 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It could also be remembered that was the day Jalen Hurts got hurt. That was when the concussion began, which he didn't come back, of course, until the playoffs. Now he's hurt again. What do we know about this knee? That was an ugly-looking play that we saw the other day.
So the good news is that today we will see and hear from, I almost said Jalen Hurts today. Listen, Nick Sirianni said on the radio this week that they're going forward as though Jalen will play and will start. And so Wednesday, big day of practice, right? You get on the field. We'll be able to see how much he does, if he's a full participant, if he's limited, and it'll give us our first sense of where he is in terms of the knee injury. But as you can see, being bent like that in that situation, not good.
Yeah, a full participant has a lot of different meanings when it comes to him.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to fully participate in practice. It's another thing to fully participate in the running game, which is such a huge part of what he does.
Yeah, his ability to threaten, like it's another blocker. Someone has to account for him. And obviously it's not Lamar Jackson, but it's a threat that you have to account for. He can get 6, 7, he can get 20 yards if you disrespect him in the running attack. If they're not going to use him in that way, that makes it a little bit harder. Like you're going to get fewer opportunities for explosive plays in the running game. So it matters, and I think it also changes the coverages that he can see. Getting on the edge and being able to threaten to run, it makes it easier to complete passes to the one-on-ones that they are most certainly going to see against the Commanders.
Yeah. The completion of passes hasn't been a particularly high priority, however, for this offense, right?
That's exactly. Let's go back to the Hurts of it all. The other issue is if you think about when they played last time and Pickett comes in because of the injury, they can play you differently defensive wise. They understand they can stop Saquon because there's not that same threat of what Hurts did. I think it was the second or third play of the game last week where he takes it 44 plus yards for a touchdown. Those are going to be the kind of the how healthy is he? Even if he is on the field, are they willing to put him at risk? I would say this, though. Because of the time of season, it's all out. Like you're not holding anything back. If you're hurt, you're playing through whatever pain you can. You're going to go till you can't go anymore. So I would say you're going to see him. He's going to get out there, but how limited does it make it? How does their defense change? How the Commanders' defense change if they see he is limited? And now they kind of play a blanket around there for the Saquon factor.
Yes.
The last time they played the Commanders, which was right before Christmas, that's the game that Jalen Hurts got hurt. Had the concussion and missed several weeks. Didn't come back to the playoffs. Now, last week, we see him getting bent in a way that a human being is not meant to be bent.
Right.
What are we thinking about with his knee? What are we hearing about his knee?
So today is important because we'll see and hear from Jalen Hurts today. He's expected to talk to reporters, but at practice, we'll see if he's a full participant, if he's limited. That'll give us a first sense of how the week is starting because you want him to get out on the practice field. You want him to make sure that that knee is good to go. And Nick Sirianni was asked on the radio about Jalen. He said, we've been preparing as though Jalen's starting, but we're going to see how healthy he is starting today.
Well, I don't think there's any question that if he is at all able to, he's going to play. This is the NFC Championship game. The question is, if his mobility is limited and that is such a huge part of his game, how does it impact the Eagles' ability to win this game on the ground, which is clearly the way they want to?
Yeah, I mean, we were concerned about him getting hit in the head a week ago and how that was going to impact him. And now you have the knee on top of it. His running ability is a big part of what opens up the offense for Saquon. And we know the short yardage situations, he's important. We know in goal line and red zone situations, his athleticism is important. The margins are so small in these playoff games and championship games, having to kick a field goal because your quarterback doesn't have the burst to get it done, it could matter. So we'll see early on in that game if he's able to break off a 20 or 40-yarder like he did against the Rams. Obviously, that's a big difference maker. Explosive plays decide a lot of these games, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think when you look at Jalen Hurts and the way he plays quarterback, which I love Jalen Hurts as a football player, he's not a very anticipatory quarterback. He wants to see it and fire it. And the more things he has to consider, the more his process slows down a little bit. So when you have a head injury and you have to worry about going down, he's considering that. If he has a knee, he's considering that. When the snow was there and the elements, he was a little late on some of those throws. The reality is, though, he has 2 number 1 receivers. And what I expect the Commanders to do is to commit to stopping the run because they know it all starts there.
Yeah.
The moment they do that, he now has one-on-one matchups on the outside, which makes it a lot easier for that process. One-on-one, throw it to A.J. One-on-one, if they're safety over top of A.J., go to Devontae. That's pretty much the process for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean, but they haven't done it. It's not because they can't necessarily, but they just simply haven't. A.J. Brown, who I think everyone at this desk would agree is in a vacuum a top 5 receiver in the NFL. In their 2 playoff games, has 3 catches for 24 yards. It's almost impossible to believe.
I love when you do it in feet.
He has 3 catches for 72 feet. They had 195 feet worth of passing in the game the other day. And look, this is 2025. Can you win a championship this way? I understand everything that's going on. I understand they're getting explosive plays out of their running game, which is even better than getting explosive plays out of the passing game because it's less risky. I understand that teams are committing more guys to the box, and that's the reason Saquon is breaking all these long runs. I just cannot envision a world in which you can win a championship in football today without at any point depending on your passing game.
Like they're just saying, make me.
Right.
We keep saying that Hurts can't do it.
Right.
He hasn't had to.
Right.
And so, like, if we are committed, and this is what the point I was making earlier, is offense is about being so good at one thing that the defense has to compromise themselves in order to stop it. They're so good at this that the defensive compromise themselves to stop it, and they still damn do it.
Exactly.
So, like, when someone stops it, like, I get what you're saying, Greeny. Like, I've watched enough modern football to also be skeptical that an offense like this can win. But we don't know that he can't. We know that he hasn't had to. And we'll see. Maybe he will be able to, or maybe the Commanders will be good enough to stop them, but no one's been able to do it yet.
That's exactly right.
So, I don't know.
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just wanted to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.